All right, back on Between the Tusk. As always, Brett Kincaid, thank you for hopping on to talk a little Razorback baseball.
Yep,
So,
happy to do it.
little different start this time.
Yeah.
I have two things for you, okay?
Okay.
I've got a good and I've got a bad.
Okay.
And I want you to tell me which one outweighs the other.
Okay.
All right? And this is recent. We're not talking like all season long. This is like a recent good, recent bad. So you tell me, what do you want first? You want to hear the good or you want to hear the bad?
Let's get the bad news out of the way.
All right. So we just dropped 2 out of 3 to Georgia
Yeah.
at home,
Yep.
of which on Saturday they basically put up a football score on us.
Yes.
Okay. The good. We've won 4 out of our last 6 SEC games against 2 good teams and 6 out of our last 8 overall. Now you tell me, which one outweighs the other?
Oh, the winning outweighs the one bad loss. There's no question. The concern is hangover. Do you get broken? Especially because you lose Friday in a game you think you should win.
Yeah,
Just had opportunity. Pitching wasn't great, but it was good enough.
it's good enough.
And we kind of just needed a hit. We had the injury to their starter, which sucks for them, but was presented opportunity for the Hogs. And then Aoki came in and just he was what Mark had told us he might be. Like he was his best version of himself in that game. And Arkansas still gives away a lot of outs offensively. Just bad at bats, non-competitive, not moving runners, not getting runners home from third with less than 2 out. Just kind of fundamental stuff. And he took advantage. So you tip your cap, but you're frustrated because you didn't do better. And then you come back, and you put out a huge lead. You put up 3 in the first and second on Saturday. And you kind of feel like, all right, offense is here. Let's rock. And you can't get anybody out. They put up 6 in the third and take a lead. And you just kind of, I was in the stadium both Friday and Saturday. And Friday was palpable frustration. Saturday was shell shock. Just couldn't.
Well,
the crowd was
think
just
about,
completely
think about Saturday,
laid out.
Brett, is they kind of it was almost like, okay, we tied up. They tied it up at 9 again, so it was almost like, okay, well, we're back in this. We're back in this. Okay, we're back in this, and it was just like, holy moly.
Well, yeah, so it was real frustrating, and I'd mentioned to you guys, like, I was afraid that Saturday may have broken this team. But having the extra day off was helpful, because then last night, recording this on Wednesday, so Tuesday night against Missouri State, Hogs get a matter of revenge after the loss, the really tough loss at Springfield a few weeks ago. But Hogs took the lead on Cam's big home run. Steele Eves immediately gives it right back with just a grooved fastball to start the inning. Not sure that ball landed before midnight. It was just, he crushed it. And so it kind of felt a little bit like Saturday, where it's like, oh crap, we fought back through tough circumstance, and all of a sudden, ball game's tied again. And but they showed some resilience. Had the Rally Cat, maybe the new in-bomb sensation for the season. For those that didn't watch or don't know, a cat. We actually saw it running up the seats on the first baseline.
Oh, really?
And then it went all the way back around Mackey's landing area, down into down where the foul pole is, and got on the field. So delayed the game for a few minutes. Everybody kind of caught their breath. The next time Hog come up after that at bat, it's Katie bar the door. Let's go get some runs, and all of a sudden it's a 12-4 win. 8th inning magic once again.
And continues to just consistently be our best hitter.
Yeah, just great at bat after great at bat. And what's impressive is the splits. Left doesn't seem to be a challenge. Takes good at bats. Takes really good at bats at 0-2, which is just pretty advanced for a freshman. Just all in all, becoming not just one of my favorites, but I think a fan favorite. Plays hard, really wants to win, about the team, playing out of his normal position, anywhere on the field he can play to help the team win. It's just, man, he take 25 of those.
I'm throwing you a curveball right here, Brett. Didn't mention this earlier. I'm listening to some of DVH's post game presser. Okay, they ask him specifically. This stuck out in my mind because I wanted to ask you. They asked him specifically about Reese's rope that he hit. Right. We've talked about all year just about Robin. He's just struggled, man. It's just a struggle. It's a struggle. So Dave Van Horn's asked about it, Brett, and he said, well, we told him not to go up there and walk. And that just got me thinking, does he take too many pitches? Does he get down 0-2 too much? Does he get down 1-2 too much?
He is down 0-2 a lot. He may have to go back and look at the at-bats. He may be just like one of those take till you see a strike batters. Very selective. You know, it helps with your on base. He takes a lot of walks. But he was taking walks at the beginning of the year when he was putting bat on the ball. You know, now we're kind of attacking him. So that makes sense that would be the instruction. And boy, let me tell you something. Those first two at-bats were worthless.
Yeah.
And then he just hit the two hardest balls he's hit all year. He still isn't getting elevation, but at this point, you just want him to put the ball in play. Exactly. You know, there was a period of time this year, early in the season, first 10, 12 games, he led the team in doubles. Just kind of figured that when the air got warmer, the ball was going to lift, but he just hasn't done that. But he hit two really hard balls on Tuesday night that made me. I mean, honestly, Chris, I was worried that this guy's got to get relegated to a defensive replacement. And now that Ruiz is back, you know, gives you some more flexibility in the outfield with if you trust in Pompey, who hit a home run last night, then you could go with Rutenbar in right or left. I mean, go Rutenbar in right, and then Ruiz in left, and New in center. Yeah. And it gives you that flexibility at the DH spot.
DH, whatever you want to do between Cujillo or Stewart or whatever.
Yeah, it kind of gives you some options at least. Cujillo hit the ball really hard last night. He's seeing it right now. Not finding holes a lot, but man, he's hitting the ball hard.
Yeah.
But I think that's kind of like maybe Reese waking up doesn't, you know, it gives you a couple more options on the infield because clearly Brumbaugh's not coming back this year. At this point, there's just no reason to believe he'll be back in the lineup at all. So you have to have good quarters when you're a little bit soft with the middle compared to what we're accustomed to seeing. So, and we saw some of that on Saturday too with the throws from short. Cam was just out of it, just short throwing it over to first base.
Again, he's a second baseman.
He has elite arm strength for a second baseman. He's got kind of average arm strength for a shortstop. He can make great plays. I love Cam. I'm just like, but you want him at short. You want him at second if you can do it. Anyhow, we've been through this before, but I just feel like with that, with Rutenbar really locking it down and Reese, at least, and you can't say he's cured after two at bats, but his last two at bats were very good at bats.
No, you're right, but I think it's something to keep your eye on. Is he going to be way more aggressive at the plate? Because it was clear from Dave's press conference that they told him, no more walks, go up there and swing the bat.
Which makes sense that would be the instruction. When a guy who is slumping, be aggressive. If you're down 0-2, make it your own fault because you're swinging at pitches and not taking strikes. I can understand that. I think that's good advice. He still has to be able to put the bat on the ball.
Yeah.
And he hadn't been doing that consistently. Then he did. And so I really hope, because he's a great Razorback. He seems like a clubhouse guy. He'll do what you need him to do. And I'll forever be happy with Reese just for the one home run he hit against LSU a few years ago at their place when while we didn't beat Skeens on the score, he didn't take the loss. We won that game thanks to Reese.
Well, and Reese, ever since he was a freshman, coming off the bench, fans love him. And quite honestly, they still do.
There's no reason not to. We're just frustrated that he's not hitting the ball. He still plays really good defense. Defensively, man, it's still a problem. 6 errors on Sunday, another one last night. Could have been 2. Probably should have been 2. Honestly,
probably should have been 2.
The defense is still a problem. It may be better. I saw Dave in some of his quotes suggest that it's better, and it is. You take away, Saturday's game as just you flush that fully. It's better, but it's just not. It's just so far below what we're accustomed to seeing. Mm-hmm. That's what's so frustrating. It's like we're used to being AAA, major league level defense. Like Iredale made plays at third that Arenado made. He was as good of a third baseman as we've ever had. And then you look at Wahiba, he covered so much ground, had an incredible arm. It got away from him sometimes, but boy, I'd rather have that than somebody who's throwing high and wild after making a hell of a play in the field. And we go back before you got, and then of course Cam at second was, All-American quality. And before that, you had Robert Moore and you had Battles. Like you just kind of gotten used to having killer. Jared Sprague-Lott was a great defensive third baseman.
The hyphenator.
Get used to it. The hyphenator. And now, we're just middle of the pack. And it kind of stinks to be middle of the pack when you've been elite for so long.
Well, we got Missouri.
Yeah.
And there's just, there's no bones about it. They're a bad team.
They're a better team than they were, so credit where it's due. Because that is a tough program.
When the last game they've won is?
They won 3 SEC games, I think, this year. So I don't know how long their streak is now. Let's see if we can just pull it up. I know they played Oklahoma and Georgia and Vandy.
Their last win was over 2 weeks ago against Missouri State.
Okay.
They had just come off their last SEC series win, which was, top of my head, Kentucky, maybe.
Oh, I'm looking at their schedule now. Yeah, they lost. That's right. They beat Kentucky, and that was April 5th.
Yeah.
And so they lost at home. They lost all 3 to South Carolina, which is a better South Carolina team than what we saw when we went there, but they're still not very good. Lost all 3 at OU. But, you look at these, last year, Missouri, I know Arkansas run ruled them twice. I think they run ruled them twice the year before. So they're more competitive games this year, which I guess is some small semblance of progress. And they've won 3 SEC games, which is something they couldn't say the last couple of years. So
touche.
They are better, but this is not a great team, and they just got beat 11-5 at home to SIU Edwardsville yesterday. Yeah. So Hogs will get them down. This kind of sets up what we talked about last week. I know we've talked about internally. Time is now to strike.
100%.
We've got 4 winnable weekends in a row. And this team has played pretty well away from home. So not a bad idea for them to get out and go. Sometimes, and I was thinking about this, when you've got an elite team like last year and even the year before, man, that home field advantage is brutal. Like people come in here and they feel like they're down 3 runs right off the bat. When the home team is not as good as they're accustomed to being, that home field feels more like pressure than, because like you expect to win. Everybody expects you to win. Going on the road, it's just you against the world. And I kind of like that for this team coming up. And what is, it's if you don't win 2 out of 3 at Mizzou, it's not just, are we going to, be a 2 seed, or could we sneak back into host conversations? Like, are we going to make the tournament?
Right.
I mean,
At that point, you're looking at 3 or 4 seed. I mean, let's be frank.
yeah, you're hoping to get in. You're not going to get in as a 4. There's no way they do it. They would put us in as a 3, like the lowest 3, like they did with LSU a few years ago in
Yeah,
Menace
good
last
point. Good
season.
point.
And,
Good point.
but it would be something like that. I mean, it would be, and really, because the conference is so packed, if you stub your toe this weekend and then finish poorly, it's no guarantee you make it to Hoover. So, like, there are things to consider if things go badly. But as you were talking about, like with Mizzou, they are struggle busing right now.
Yeah.
I was looking at their stats earlier. You know, this is kind of like what it looks a little bit like us offensively in South Carolina. You know, not a ton of pop, less than even we have. Their leading home run hitter is Chase Wata, and he has 9 home runs. You know, it's just not, and they've got. Let me look at this. Yeah, they only have 3 other guys with more than 5.
Yeah.
So it's not a power team. You know, they have been a little bit more of a stealing base team, and they've got a handful of guys who can steal bags. It's just not a
because they probably have to, right? They're probably having to manufacture runs.
Yeah, well, this is I think this is Carrick Jackson's 3rd season there. You know, he's trying to build with limited resources and running a lot, manufacturing runs, just trying to scratch out enough to make it a place that people want to go to in the next couple seasons.
I spent a little bit looking at their staff. Friday night starter seems decent, like a good SEC Friday night starter. Doesn't seem like there's a whole lot after that. And I'm assuming that's part of their struggles.
McDavid and Kellenbrink, they're kind of their most productive guys. If you look at their advanced metrics, but you look at the like ERA, like Kellenbrick's is over 6.
Yeah.
You know, he's a strikeout guy, but if he's putting you on base, he's got a whip of like 1.3, I think. So I mean, hold up. Yeah, Kellenbrink is a 1.31 whip. McDevitt, their Friday guys, 1.25. And this is another Thursday, Friday, Saturday series too, which could benefit Arkansas coming off of it. You know, that same structure. Nobody's going to be on short rest out of the pen. So that could be helpful. We get everybody on regular rest.
You know, I don't want to just spend a whole lot of time on Missouri. I'm just going to be honest. I don't think a whole lot of people want to hear about Missouri. They're not
the only
a good
thing you
baseball
want to
team.
hear about is if they go badly.
Yeah, they're not a good baseball team. We need to go down there. We need to at least take 2, if not sweep.
Yeah.
What I really want to talk about,
after losing 2 out of 3 at home, you really have to be focused on winning every game. Really have to.
Let's talk. Let's dive into some regionals. I mean, we're a solid 2 right now. Agree?
Yeah. I mean, it's time to start really thinking about it. You know, kind of fun to daydream about before.
Sure.
But, you know, we've only got 4 weeks of conference ball left across the country, and you know, people are starting to show who they are. You know, I think Arkansas has clearly shown that it's down a step from what we're accustomed to seeing, but is in the fight. You know, 9-9, still got the chance to get to 18 in the conference, which would be an enormous feat. The schedule sets up to give you that chance, but if you're going to do that, you got to take all 3 this weekend.
Which is not out of the question.
No, not out of the question at all, especially the way Missouri is playing.
So let's talk about it. I mean, this is what everybody wants to know, right? What does Arkansas have to do to host a regional? I think it's difficult, but it's not completely out of the question. But step 1 is you probably really need to sweep Missouri, right?
Need to sweep Missouri. Need to win both midweek games next week against Northwestern State, which is a pretty good baseball team.
Okay.
And then you've got Ole Miss coming to town. You know, got to take, and Ole Miss is playing well now. You know, they're kind of figured it out. They're a top 20 team right now.
Yep.
So you got to take 2 out of 3 from them at home. Rivalry series, place will be packed Saturday. and Sunday are both afternoon games, so I expect huge crowds. And then we're done with midweek after next week. So then you really get everybody on regular, all your bullpen resets completely. You don't have to worry about spending. That's why I think we're seeing more Teague. He started last night and looked pretty darn good. His fastball only runs in the low 90s, but it plays faster. He was striking people out with it last night. Missouri State, as we know, was a pretty good ball club, a good offensive team in particular.
Sure.
So you get all that reset, which is great. And then you go into the final weekends, that kind of sets you up. You got OU, and then you got Kentucky. OU's at home, Kentucky's on the road. Both of them have been kind of like Arkansas, like most of the SEC, honestly, outside of Georgia, who got the break speed off of them last night by Georgia Tech. By the way, they lost 14-4, and so the SEC is down across the board. LSU's probably not even going to make the tournament this year, defending College World Series champs. They are, Mississippi State, who looked like world beaters early in the year, way down. I mean, I think Hogs are in the same company with a lot of teams that are accustomed to being mentioned with in the league, but they're just down the board in the middle, and not up at the top. You got Texas, you got Texas A&M, and you got Georgia as the three pretty clear best teams, and then Auburn sneaks in there for a little bit. Oklahoma would sneak in there for a little bit. Alabama snuck in for a little bit. Then you get the rotation. Ole Miss is on the way up right now. Maybe they're going to be the next one to crack the top 12.
So, in order to host, if we lose any one of those 4 series,
I don't think there's any chance you host if you do that. I think if you get to 18 wins in conference, especially if we get to 18 wins at Arkansas, with the close that would mean, means you're trending up, your RPI is shooting up. You win 18 games in the SEC, you're going to be a top 16.
So getting to 18, we're at 9. That literally means sweeping Missouri and then taking the next 3 series. That puts you right on the dot at 18.
They get 2 out of 3 in the next 3 series.
Yeah.
No margin for error. I think 17 with the RPI that Arkansas has right now, which will go up, but still losing those at home hurts. So that's going to be an issue with the strength of victory. And then, the SEC not showing well outside of conference. One of the metrics in the RPI is your opponent's record. And so Arkansas losing to, if we lose to Georgia and then they turn around and get the break speed off of them by Georgia Tech, that's not good for us. Which Georgia Tech is great. Don't get me wrong. That was number 3 versus number 5 last night.
But I didn't see
10-run game. Woof.
14-4 was the wild card to me.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think there is a path, right? It's all you want this time of year, is a chance to get that home field, at least for the first round. I don't think there's any way there's a top 8 unless others just fail. You win, maybe you close strong and win the SEC tournament or something like that. That'd be the only way I could envision that happening. But there's a chance to get that first round at home, which, again, maybe this team needs to be on the road. That 22 team did, and they went all the way to Omaha.
Yeah, good point. Let's pull up a few predictions here that you.
Okay. I sent you
kind of looked up
the Baseball America. This is Baseball America. I'm sorry. This is the Division I baseball. There are basically 2 pretty good sites that do these projections that have proven over the years to be pretty reliable. And Baseball America, I think, is the standard, but Division I, it's Kyle Peterson's group, has really stepped up in its coverage and depth. I think they're getting better at this. I think this is a great bracket. Not only do you get the World Series rematch against Kent State right out of the gate, but you've got a chance to line up with Florida, who came in and punched us in the mouth. Potential round for them. Arkansas has been to Florida State in the past. has won regionals there.
Yep.
Won the super regional there in 2009 on the way to Omaha. This, Florida State, for all of its success, is not an intimidating place to play if you come from a place like Arkansas. Now, they may be better, but in terms of travel, and it's in Florida. I mean, it's not that far. Fans will travel down there and go down to 30A and then head up to Tallahassee for the ball games.
Yeah, it is an easy trip for Arkansas fans.
What do you see in that group? Is there anything that sticks out to you from that grouping?
Well, I don't know anything about USC. I know nothing about USC.
They have been, the team of the 70s has been dormant other than that one year in the 90s when they won it. But aside from that, they've kind of been a flatline program. Moving to the Big Ten has probably helped with their money. They definitely have higher talent this year. The West Coast is up. UCLA looks like it's an absolute juggernaut.
Yeah.
Oregon State still playing at an elite level. Oregon playing really good baseball still. Then you got the other programs like Pepperdine and Long Beach and San Diego that have always kind of been good to great programs over the years, and they play all those cats. So Southern Cal is probably not an Omaha threat this year, but also like I wouldn't want them if we're hosting. I wouldn't want them in our region.
Well,
it's not like a few years ago with Arizona, who went to the World Series last year, but a few years ago, Arizona came to Arkansas and we didn't even see them. They lost their first 2 games.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like that. This is a different type of team.
I see. Well, I mean, definitely not scared going to play Florida State at Tallahassee. Kent State's a pretty tough 3 seed right there. So
I don't know. I haven't followed them. I know they lost a lot of kids from last year, but like this is a team that's got some playoff grit.
Yeah,
obviously, no doubt, they would love another chance to face 100%. Arkansas.
That's a tough 3 seed, but yeah, I'm like you. I would take going to Tallahassee right there in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
So that was D1. This is this the Baseball America one?
Yeah, this is Baseball America.
Okay.
Which is a little bit less, less high on the Hogs, but puts us in another place that Arkansas has, won recently. That 22 team.
Been there, yeah.
Won the Chapel Hill Super. UAB, admittedly, I don't know much about, but I imagine that is on par with a Kent State team.
Okay.
They're going to have a good Friday night guy. If you're playing in a 2-3 game, it's a toss-up always.
Man, we see it all the time. It doesn't matter.
They have one good pitcher.
That's it. We see it all the time. It doesn't matter the size of the school. If you are at a regional, your Friday night or your lead starter, that guy's good.
Binghamton, if this holds, Binghamton is going to throw a guy that's going to limit North Carolina for a while. How long? Who knows? But they are going to have a guy. Wright State as a 4. I mean, good God, talk about punishment for your success. Wright State as a 4 seed is a tough get. They've consistently put together good teams.
Yeah.
So I think what you see here, though, is obviously the 2 primary, coverage sites for college baseball. Think of Arkansas and Southern Cal in similar vein. This Baseball America obviously is a little higher opinion of Southern Cal than D1. But I think there's just clearly this middle ground of teams and that 35 to 25 range, and Arkansas is in that mix.
Yep.
How much you do in the next 3 weeks really solidifies, and it's not quite like the basketball tournament, where the conference tournaments don't mean anything and the seeding is set. I feel like it's not quite that way in baseball. Location is probably the thing that matters most. But we have seen the committee try to really lean into regional balance in a way that they hadn't in the past. Last year we had both Kansas and Creighton come here. It's the year before we had Kansas State. The year before we had TCU. The year before that we went to Oklahoma State. There is a real sense of keeping teams close by. And the year before that, Nebraska came here, and that was tough because Nebraska was obviously quite good. but it was about trying to get them into a somewhat regional spot. I wouldn't be at all. We obviously couldn't go to Oklahoma because you're not going to put two teams from the same conference in the same region, but somewhere close-ish, the Carolinas, Florida Panhandle. That makes sense that they, Oklahoma State's down, but if TCU were to host, you might see Hogs go to TCU.
Well, it's that's, to me, that's going to be the fun thing to track over the next 3 to 4 weeks.
Yeah.
We know our track, we know our path. Hopefully, this time next week we're coming off a weekend series sweep and 2 midweek games against, like you said, a pretty good midweek team
that will beat you.
Yeah. So if you sweep the weekend series, you beat both of those. You win both of those games against Northwestern next week. Got to think that's a pretty decent RPI jump.
I mean, it doesn't hurt you anymore. I mean, we're not going to get much out of this weekend, and we win all 3. That's great, but you're not going in and getting a high quality like Q1 win. But you're getting a conference. That's the thing. You're padding those conference numbers. Arkansas needs a break. Hadn't had one really all year outside of South Carolina, and we caught them on Sunday after they just fired their coach. A little different walk on Sunday that weekend. So I think that this is the first time where Arkansas can go in and say they match up clearly talent-wise across the board better than their opponents.
Well, all right, Brett, appreciate it.
This is next week. Not where we thought we'd be, but we're still in the fight, and that's what you want to be. Just field the damn ball, make the throws. Don't take a called strike 3. If you can
catch the ball,
avoid those 3 things, you got a chance to win all 3 games this week.
All right, man. Till this time next week, go Hogs.
Go Hogs.
Thanks, buddy.
See ya.